and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble! This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the back. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Sorry it took me so long. I couldn't remember exactly what we were talking about today, and I was having a hard time posting it on Facebook. So therefore, that's why it took me so long to get here. And today, it's episode 170, Sports and Sorts on a Monday morning. We normally go live every Monday and Saturday around 10-ish. Today it happens to be 10:13. All right, so if you want to go ahead and give us a subscribe. After all this craziness that happened at the beginning, give us a little subscribe, maybe a thumbs up. I don't know. Do whatever you can. Share it. All that kind of fun stuff. You can find Sports and Sorts anywhere podcasts are played at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com, which is our website. You can also find us there, and you can find me anywhere on all of these pages, including our facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman, or on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. And my name is Shane.
Okay, and I'm the Bryman. Oh, man. What is this, a Saturday show?
And lastly, if you comment during the show, we will put it up on the screen.
Anything you put on that monitor, we will read.
No, we're not.
We're not
Ron Burgundy.
We're like the Ron Burgundys.
We likely put it up on the screen, but we might not read it because some people decide to post some really crazy stuff.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some of those strange folk who were on the Saturday show back
Anonymous,
on today. That'd be great. Yeah, Anonymous.
Yes.
I liked Anonymous.
R. Kelly has died. Wait,
Yeah.
no, he hasn't. But thanks
Thanks for contributing.
Yeah, thanks for trying.
You did not make us look, but you tried.
Well, you made us look at the comments,
Right,
but
not CNN.
yes.
We did not turn our TVs on. My TV go on?
Although Saturday Night Live, that was funny. I don't know if you saw it.
Yes, I did.
The SNL skit
Kenan
with R.
Thompson?
Kelly. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did. It was good.
That was good. That was pretty funny.
I
Kept
did
on
enjoy
looking
that.
at the plant. Is that what the camera is?
Yeah, that was funny.
No, they're right in front of you. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty
Putting
good.
the cameras out in the open like that?
It was good stuff. I was very entertained.
All right. So anyway, let's get into this. Today we're going to be talking about Antonio Brown on his way back, on his way to the black hole. And will an ex-teammate possibly join him? Captain Marvel debuted to a huge opening weekend, the second largest by a female lead. We both watched it. Was it marvelous or was it meh-velous? James Dolan bans a fan for having an opinion, and Bryman has a quick recap on the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. We got a great show. Let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. Got a great show. Antonio Brown, we're going to start off with it, of course. Got to get into the NFL real quick. Got to talk about this. Antonio Brown heads to the Raiders in a trade that nobody sees coming because I really thought, actually it showed up that there was actually a Bills trade on the table and the Bills pulled out at the 11th hour. But regardless, who cares? He is going to be a Raider. And I don't think that this whole thing happens, and I don't think it's because people didn't see him getting traded, and because they didn't see him getting traded to the Raiders or anything like that. But I don't think that people saw that the Steelers were going to get this swindled. Because John Gruden, he gets rid of Amari Cooper, a good little receiver, and gets back a number 1 pick for that receiver. Mm-hmm. And then he picks up Antonio Brown and only has to give up a 3rd and 5th round pick. That is some Danny Ainge swindling magic moves that Gruden made. Yeah. So good for him. And I also thought that I thought that this might have been, the game might have passed Gruden by, or maybe it was going to be at least it's going to take him a few years for Gruden to catch up. And he might still have to catch up in the coaching side of things. But as far as a GM goes, the dude is large and in charge. I mean, he is making moves on paper that so far seem on point. And now the only question is he going to figure out a way to bring in another B, one of the other Bs, LeVeon Bell? Will he suck him into the black hole? That is another. He is making some serious moves over there.
Listen,
if you're gonna see if Derek Carr's the real deal.
Oh, without a doubt.
This is your opportunity, Derek
But if
Carr.
you give Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown to Derek Carr, I don't see how Derek Carr doesn't become better by virtue of his surroundings. Right? Now, the only thing I will say, and again, this is like a common denominator thing. Nobody's questioning the overall greatness of Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell. We both know that those guys are individually great players. But here's the thing I will tell you, that in the last 10 to 15 years, I'm not so sure I could name a better triplet than Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. But the only thing I know is that triplet never won a Super Bowl. The other thing I know is that Ben Roethlisberger has won 2 Super Bowls. So the common denominators here are Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Now, is it fair to say that they didn't win Super Bowls because of those 2 guys? Absolutely not. There are other issues that the Steelers had. You brought it up on the last show, defense being one of them. But also, when you have that kind of talent, when you have a future Hall of Fame quarterback and probably 2 future Hall of Fame receiver and running back respectively, and you don't win 1 Super Bowl together, that's bad.
It's not good.
Now, let's just talk individually here about this trade. Yes, there was a swindling of sorts. I'll give you that. But at the same time, the Steelers had no leverage here. Let's be honest. What leverage did the Steelers have? They wanted a guy who was completely going to be getting out of town. Everybody knew it was the worst kept secret in the world. And the rest of the league knew that they weren't going to be able to the Steelers were not going to be able to get much for him. It's just the way it was going to be. He was leaving that team, and the Steelers were in a total hole here because they knew they weren't going to get much. Was this the best offer? I don't know. Who knows? But then again, Antonio Brown basically guided his way to whichever team he was going to be able to guide himself to whichever team he wanted for the most part, because if they put a trade together, Antonio Brown could have said, well, I'm not going to go to that team, so you might as well nix that trade. Antonio Brown had all the leverage here. He had all the power. Antonio Brown, despite his the fact that he's pretty nuts, and despite the fact that he could maybe be considered a clubhouse cancer, and he's absolutely a classic diva receiver, let's give him his due. He directed himself to the team he wanted, and on top of that, he got paid. He got another $30 million guaranteed,
yeah, he did.
Which is what you and I said the other day was probably going to happen. Mm-hmm. And he's getting that. And he's on the wrong side of 30. Uh-huh. And he still got what he wanted. Yeah. Talent, this is the one league. It's really the one league in sports where talent trumps everything. People will always take chances on you if you're talented. Always. This is the one league that rescues criminals, basically, and puts them on the field. I mean, look, Kareem Hunt should not be on an NFL team right now. He really shouldn't be, because in my opinion, the guy needs to take care of himself first. He really needs to get himself straightened out. But he's so talented and so young that the Cleveland Browns took a chance. Antonio Brown is a future Hall of Fame wide receiver. And his background dictates that he could easily take a team and implode it from the inside out. And the Raiders, who have a history of doing stupid stuff, they took a chance here. Not a big chance, though, because when you look at what they gave up, it's nothing. Why wouldn't you do it? Derek Carr loves it. He's happy. Him and Antonio Brown are tweeting sweet nothings at each other. Life is good right now. I mean, this worked out well. The only team that this didn't work out well for is the Steelers, because they got nothing in return. Nothing. What did you say it was? A third and a fifth?
Yes.
That's nothing. You are not getting Antonio Brown back with either of those picks. You've gotten maybe a little bit of salary cap relief, but that's it. Otherwise, you've got nothing here.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But good for Antonio Brown. He got his way.
Unless
He
the
bitched and
Raiders
moaned his way to get in his way.
tank. I don't even know. That doesn't even mean anything.
But look, all right, so I want to get back to that real quick, too. I have been a huge proponent of what John Gruden has been doing since he traded Khalil Mack, because I know a lot of people said, because they gave Gruden a lot of crap because John Gruden said pass rushers like Khalil Mack are basically hard to come by, and what does he do? He trades the guy.
Yep.
But look, John Gruden basically has his destiny in his hands. He made the decision to trade guys like Cooper and trade guys like Mack for first-round draft picks, and over the course of the next 2 years, John Gruden has 4 first-round picks. He controls his own destiny with those picks. John Gruden's legacy will be 2 things in this 10-year contract that he has. 1, does he bring a Super Bowl back to the Oakland/Vegas Raiders? 2, what does he get with these? I'm not going to call them the 4 first-round picks, but what does he get from these 2 first-round picks that he traded Mack and Cooper for? That is John Gruden's legacy is tied into those 2 things: Super Bowls and those 2 picks. And ultimately, they come together because those 2 picks, if they're good, will end up leading John Gruden to a Super Bowl or Super Bowls. So, bottom line is he controls his own destiny, which is absolutely what he wanted.
Yep.
I am still a proponent.
And he's also
of what
very
he
good
did.
with diva receivers.
Look,
done it with
he's
Keyshawn.
He's good with quarterbacks, and he can handle a tumultuous locker room. Okay, he's the right guy for this
because
job.
the thing with him is, unlike Tomlin, he doesn't have the power. Tomlin didn't have the power to do this, but unlike Tomlin, he's willing to just wipe his hands clean and say bye.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, there's no. Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he doesn't care.
And he did that with Keyshawn. They won a Super Bowl, and the next year he's like, "See you later, guys. We don't need you. Don't come back." You're acting like an idiot.
John Gruden is in an unbelievable position because even in a worst case scenario, like in a couple of years or something, if this team is just a total disaster and nothing is working out and he gets fired, so what? He goes back to broadcasting. Not to mention he's got guaranteed millions still to come from the Raiders over X amount of years.
Long time.
John Gruden is the ultimate winner in all of this. Mm-hmm. And if they sign Le'Veon Bell, which by the way the Raiders have a ton of cap space, so don't rule them out. I think it's a very big possibility. I don't know to what extent Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown like each other, but I'm guessing they probably really like each other because these guys are outrageously similar. So they
sometimes those personalities clash,
right. But I have a feeling for whatever reason
you need the Michael Irving and the Emmitt Smith. You need the 2.
I saw a tweet this morning. And I forgot who said it. It was somebody. It was somebody who I think could relate to it, but he was like, look, teams can succeed with like a Dennis Rodman.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they're saying, like the Antonio Brown here is like Dennis Rodman.
How many rings does Dennis Rodman have?
But here's the question. How many Dennis Rodmans can you have? So if you take on Le'Veon Bell, too, you're bringing... The problem with...
Le'Veon Bell was never that much of a diva, though. Like, he's not like Antonio Brown was. He just wants his money, and he just wants his money. He's pissed off that he never got it.
Yeah. Here's I guess... There are two types of personalities in the NFL, and I don't fault either one. There are guys who want rings, and there are guys who want money. And I can see I can understand completely both sides. The rings one is an easy sell for me because if all you care about is winning as a fan, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
If in the NFL all you care about is money, I don't have a problem with that either because these guys have such a short window with which to work.
Yeah.
I get it. You got to get paid because you don't know
the next
what
hit
there is for
last.
you.
Yeah,
right, and you don't know what there is for you beyond the NFL. Mm-hmm. So you got to get that guaranteed money, especially if you're a really good player. You got to get it. I completely understand that, and I can totally respect that. In the NFL, more than any other league, I get that. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're one bad move away in any sport from being done, but in the NFL, it is you are in absolute peril on every single snap. You really are.
Yep. Word
so
up.
I understand. I understand in the NFL if you want to get your money. No problem at all with that.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's move on to the next topic.
You are listening to the
That's
Sports
really
and Swords
quiet.
podcast.
That was not good. But this is good. We're going to talk a little basketball real quick. We have heading on over to basketball. Quick second. Don't have a lot to talk about here, but I do have a clip that I want to play where James Dolan throwing his weight around like a little tyrant.
Oh, he's such a little.
Oh my gosh! I mean, is there ever been somebody that's I can't think of many
a more polarizing owner.
Oh yeah, an owner that's so hated.
He
acts like a little child. Like, I'm going to take my ball and go home kind of child.
He's up there in terms of polarizing owners, and his biggest issue, too, is that he has not brought a championship to the Knicks. So, you could say, okay, George Steinbrenner was a polarizing owner. Well, that's fine, but he also brought 7 championships to the Yankees.
Yeah.
In his time.
Yeah.
So you can say whatever you want about George Steinbrenner. That guy, as owner of the Yankees, won 7 rings.
All right, so I'm going to play the clip right quick about him.
And that's a good apples-to-apples comparison, by the way, because both of those owners resided in New York.
Yes. Good. All right, here you go. Here he comes.
Sell the team! You think I should sell the team? You want to not come to any more games? Why? That's rude.
It's an opinion.
No, it's not an opinion. And you know what? Enjoy watching them on TV.
Him, Black. Bring him, him, hold him for Kevin. Hold him for Kevin. Hold him for Kevin.
I wish I could be like, hold him for Kevin. Sometimes when you get off the rails, be like, hold him for Kevin. Hold him for Kevin.
What a D-bag he is. What an absolute piece of crap, James Dolan. Here's what sucks, too.
The crazy thing is he was like, that's not he goes, it's an opinion. He's like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. He wants
it really is.
He thinks you should sell the team. That's an opinion.
By the way, if I'm that fan, I hope to God that that MSG bans him because he can sue.
Yeah.
them.
Well, I mean, no matter
There's
what,
an
just
absolute freedom of speech.
Just for removing him from the game. It's not like he did anything. And then
he said nothing. He didn't even say anything. He didn't swear.
Nope.
All he did was tell the owner to sell the team, which, by the way, is something that every single New Yorker and every single Knicks fan has wanted for the last 20 years.
I think most NBA fans want Dolan out of the
Oh
league.
my God. He is a
because everybody knows that in New York, having a team that's powerful in New York, having a good owner in New York is huge. You don't need to have this little baby tyrant, there. Like
he is a skid mark on R. Kelly's underwear. That's what James Dolan is. He is a nobody. He is an absolute joke of an owner who has
told
run
stories about that guy. He
has run that organization into the ground. But here's the problem, and you know what it is. You can't fire the owner. Only the owner could get rid of himself.
And he just sits there and rests on his father's laurels and gets drunk.
And you know what?
Which he seemed like he was kind of drunk there too. Like he's making these decisions. He probably had several cocktails.
And I'll tell you, here's the other thing too. If Knicks fans had their hearts set on, they're all thinking to themselves, well, okay, so we trade Porzingis, we get that first round, we get that pick, right? So we're kind of doing the John Gruden thing, right? Here's the problem. What free agent in their right mind, if you're talking about Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant, guys who can opt out and become free agents, why would they want to sign in New York? Why would they want anything to do with that owner? I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that guy.
Ball.
And you know what sucks about that, too, is because if I were a free agent in the NBA, Of course I want to play in New York, play in the Mecca, in the Garden, and try to bring glory back to that franchise. But who wants to go near that guy? Again, you can't fire the owner, so you can say whatever you want about him, but he's not going anywhere. And you know what? The more fans try and provoke him, the more likely he is to dig in and not even come close to selling this team. Because that guy is not the kind of guy who's going to give fans what they want. Because if he was the kind of guy who gave fans what they want, that team probably would have won some championships already. And they didn't. They never have with him. And you know what? They might not ever. He's a disaster. Why would you want to go play for him? He's your boss. If you go and play for that guy, you are making an active choice. Okay, and by the way, income tax in New York is high. So, on top of the fact that you could go somewhere else and play on a more competitive team and not get hit with state income tax, and you choose to go play just because it's New York, good for you. You really wanted to be there then. Because there is no reason why any really good free agent who has aspirations of making money and or winning a championship should want to go there.
Can you imagine Hal doing that? Could you imagine Hal doing that?
No.
Like him walking through the stadium and like somebody saying, sell the team. He would probably look at him and just smile and just keep walking. Like that's all he would just be like.
He wouldn't even react.
He probably wouldn't even pay attention. He'd just be in one ear and out the other. Like, yeah, he wouldn't even. And nobody would want him to sell the team because he's done a good job.
He has done a good job. And technically speaking, Hal has a championship. It depends on how you look at 2009. I mean, George Steinbrenner was not. I mean, yes, we credit George with having 7, but that's kind of one of those ones where George has 7 and Hal has 1 because Hal really was running the show.
Yeah.
George was the face. Hal was running the show.
Right.
So let's be honest. George was in really poor health at that time, and Hal was completely in charge of that team. There's no question.
Hank is on the farm.
And Hank was out to pasture. But man, James Dolan, you know what? I mean, neither one of us are Knicks fans. But I feel bad.
I want the Knicks to be good, though.
So do I. Oh, I absolutely want the Knicks to be good. Absolutely.
It makes NBA better.
I have no New York loyalties other than the Yankees, you know that. But yes, when the Knicks are good, that's good for business. That is what Stephanie McMahon and Triple H would say is best for business. And you want the Knicks and the Celtics and the Lakers to be good. That is good for the NBA.
You need to have like one of those like Midwest teams, something like the Bulls. That's good when they're good too.
Right.
Like
The Bulls too, sure.
Even like when you have that nitty gritty town, like the nitty gritty city, like a Detroit
or Philly.
It's good. Yeah, Philly. That'd be great.
And then, of course, you get my quiet dynasty in the middle of all of that, winning 5 championships in 20 years. But nobody hates the Spurs, which is great because they're tucked away in San Antonio. And they win like once every 4 years. And everyone's like, okay, well, that's fine.
They were so quiet because nobody watched the NBA Finals. Well, you did.
I did. Boy, did I ever. I was one of those 800,000 people tuning in.
Back in the day,
sure
I got to go against the Knicks in the NBA Finals with the Houston Rockets. That was Hakeem versus Ewing. Like that's a big deal.
It was.
It was good times.
It was. I genuinely feel bad for Knicks fans. That is an absolute albatross of an owner that you have there, and he is the further you criticize him, the more he digs in. That guy's not going anywhere until death does them part.
It's bad. I mean,
that's an ugly marriage that's not likely to end.
He's a slob, and it's unfortunate that he's digging in that well. I mean,
he's a clown.
He could literally just sell that. I mean, granted, it is forever money. MSG, no matter how bad he runs that, it's forever money. That's generation after generation after generation money. Now, so I can understand why he doesn't sell it. But
he also owns the Rangers and the Liberty, I think, too, right?
Yeah,
so
probably.
And he's the chairman of MSG.
Yeah,
that guy's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You just got to hope against hope that the Knicks can win. Despite and in spite of him.
Like there's people like even like Mark Cuban. He kind of seems like a jerk from time to time, but he has a redeeming quality to him too. Like you can tell he really just wants his team to win. Like he's got that fiery passion. Whereas like Dolan doesn't seem like it's a team that I own. It's a building that I own with a team that's in it. Like and then I don't care how they do as long as it keeps generating money.
I actually love. You know what? I love Mark Cuban, and he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, who are the Spurs rivals. Yeah. But the reason why I like Mark Cuban is because that guy passionately cares about his team. Mm-hmm. He sits courtside for a lot of their games. He's cheering that team on. Maybe a little bit too much at times. He goes over the edge a little bit at times, and he gets a little too involved sometimes. But the guy has passion. He loves the team. And you may not know this. For the last 10 years, the wallpaper on my work computer for the last 10 years, and I've been at 3 different jobs in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. Don't hold that against me, any future employers. I don't really hop around that much. It's just sometimes things happen. But my wallpaper, I have had the same wallpaper on my computer for the last 10 years. It's a Mark Cuban quote with a picture of Mark Cuban. Whoa. And it says, "Work like someone is working 24 hours a day to take it all away from you." That's a Mark Cuban quote. And I love that quote because it reminds me every day that you should never take anything for granted with your job and in your life in general. You have to work hard as if someone is trying to take it from you. Like it's a chip on your shoulder kind of quote. I've had that on my wallpaper for 10 years.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one for sure. All right, let's switch topics. We'll head on over to can you do the WWE in a couple minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do it for a couple. Just we'll talk about the WWE for about 3 minutes.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
So last night was WWE Fastlane, which is the last pay-per-view stop on the road to WrestleMania. This was a very meh kind of event, and Fastlane usually is. To me, WWE should get rid of this event. I honestly don't think you need anything in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I would get rid of this pay-per-view because all it does is it just allows you to convolutedly stretch out some storylines. And that's exactly what the WWE has done on this road to WrestleMania. Ultimately, the fans, there's been a lot of fan backlash to what Vince McMahon is doing as he leads up to WrestleMania, the way they've dragged out these weird Becky Lynch storylines and they've dragged out these weird Kofi Kingston storylines. Ultimately, WWE fans are going to get what they want. Kofi is probably going to get his big WrestleMania moment, I hope, next month. And Becky Lynch is almost certainly Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey is going to be the main event, which is going to be historic for WrestleMania. But I think that this event this pay-per-view just doesn't really add much. It just creates more confusion. And it has fans scratching their heads. And it just, there were some good matches, don't get me wrong. Overall, I'd probably give this event a C or a C-. It's just there. It's nothing special. It's just there. You watch it because it is the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, but it doesn't really do anything for the build-up to WrestleMania, in my opinion. There were some good matches. There were some nice moments last night. The Shield had a nice final moment last night. If you actually truly believe that the Shield is really done, if you really believe that Dean Ambrose is leaving, which I'm not sure I'm buying into because I have a feel they're mentioning it so much about Dean Ambrose only having a month or so left on his contract and then leaving. It makes you think that that's actually not true. There's going to be some sort of dramatic moment in the next few weeks where Dean Ambrose comes back and signs a contract and re-signs. They're mentioning it too much to make you think it's actually real. Because they normally don't do that. When a guy is leaving and you know about it, it's very rare that WWE actually actively mentions it. They're going out of their way to mention it with Dean Ambrose. So it makes you think that something's up there. Mm-hmm. But this pay-per-view was fine. Again, it's there. It was something to do last night, which was great. The Shield having their nice supposed last moment together was kind of a cool little finish. Gave the fans what they wanted. I think everybody and their mother knew that Ronda Rousey was going to get involved in that match between Becky and Charlotte last night and get Charlotte disqualified so that Becky would, in fact, be inserted into the main event, and you'll have this triple threat main event at WrestleMania. So I give the event a C to a C-. It was nothing special. There were no big surprises. There were some good matches, but overall, this pay-per-view is just, as our friend Tim Callahan said there, it's actually more of a roadblock than it is a Fastlane. Well put.
Yes. All right, so I actually commented to him to see if what he gave the event. Another big wrestling fan. I wanted to see what he gave the event as well. I know that you said CC minus. I'm assuming that it's probably going to be the same. Maybe he might even grade it a little tougher after the Roadblock comment. But I think that we should probably switch topics. Head on over. There was a good little recap for the pay-per-view leading up to WrestleMania. But I think we should switch topics and head on over to something we like to talk about from time to time. And that is...
Where do you think you're going? I'm going to sort it out.
You're going to do what?
Swords!
That's what we're going to do. We're going to head into the sorts. And Captain Marvel.
Marvel.
Opened up to a $153 million domestic weekend. Domestically, it opened to $153 million. $455 million worldwide. It's the second highest opening domestically by in an opening weekend by a female lead, only being bested by Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So that is a very impressive feat. So I saw it on Saturday. You saw it on Saturday as well? Saturday. So you saw it a little bit earlier than me. But I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. There was times that it was a little bit clunky. The acting wasn't all that great, but sometimes in these comic book movies, you're not going to get the greatest acting. But I did.
That's not what you're there for,
right? I mean, I am. Like, I think Infinity War. I thought they did a phenomenal job acting off each other. I thought the dialogue was really well done. I thought the action, just the CG of Thanos and everything. I thought everything was really well done. It's not my favorite MCU movie, but it's one of my favorite MCU movies. Now this one, on the other hand, like I said, there was some clunkiness throughout, like the script and all that kind of stuff. But overall, it was a really fun watch. I had a good time watching it. I liked the after credit scenes. There are two. I liked them, didn't love them. I wish they could have given us a little bit more than what they did. Like, you kind of saw it coming when they started talking about, in the first after credit scene, which is more relevant to the whole universe. And then the second one is more just silly, goofy, which was kind of like, okay. But overall it was a fun watch. I'd probably give it like something like a 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I would love to see it again, possibly with my son or something like that, because me and my wife saw it on Saturday night.
I took the girls. They both liked it.
I got so lucky. Just last minute. Like, we were going through and I was trying to find tickets, and all these tickets were like sold out. And I'm like, couldn't find tickets anywhere. I was looking at all different theaters. And then right before we were getting ready to leave, the babysitter just got here. I was like, all right, I'm going to get those tickets that are kind of not great seats, and we'll just go there. But I was like, before I do that, I'm checking the XD Theater in North Haven one last time. Yeah. I checked. Had great seats available that just popped up out of nowhere, and I was like, yes!
Probably somebody gave their seats back.
Yeah, and I was like, yes. So I got in one of the second to last rows. Yep. It might have been the third to last or second to last. Right in that XD Theater in North Haven. It's so good. That's perfect. And it was just, I was like, lucked out so much.
I think that's where Tim goes.
And before that, I went to J. Timothy's earlier that day and had Dirt Wings. So it was a great day. Yeah. I mean, I was hurting physically.
That is a good day.
After I had something like 17 wings.
17? That's impressive.
Yeah. Oh, that's a typical. 15 to 20.
Wow.
Yeah. I love me some wings. I house them.
17 though? That's impressive.
There was 3 or 4 left out of the group. We got 40 as a group. And I put away 17.
Good for you. I'm impressed. Yeah. You've earned some additional respect there. That's a sizable amount of wins. That's good. That's good. No, that's good.
All right, real quick before we go into that, Tim Callahan said incomplete. I missed the first 90 minutes and fell asleep during the main event.
Yeah, so an incomplete might as well be a C or C minus. So yeah, I think he and I are on the same
and he also
page
did
here
say
in terms
that
of
he
this
does
event.
go to North Haven, yes, because it is a great theater. I love that theater. That's a phenomenal theater.
By the way,
I drive an extra 10 minutes to get there.
Let me give you my quick takeaways from Captain Marvel. I'm completely with you on the grade. 7.5 out of 10. That would be my Cinebro score. Fun movie, solid. I know what you're saying about it being clunky. There were some parts where I was kind of like, okay, let's move it along here. But for the most part, I was very entertained throughout. It was pretty steady. Yeah. And my other big takeaway was how great was Goose. I loved everything about that. I loved everything about Goose the cat. Well, not a cat, a flirkin. But my favorite part about, and I said this like right after the movie, I was like, it's got to be like Goose. Naming that cat Goose had to be an homage to Goose from Top Gun.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was, which automatically even makes that character better. So, really enjoyed it. The girls liked it. They were into it the whole time. Very entertaining. Again, my girls are almost 10 and 13 respectively. So, a good enough age range. I think because last I checked, Captain Marvel was at 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I basically agree with that. I think that's where this movie stands. It's somewhere overall, probably in the middle of the pack for the MCU. Not great, but good.
80.
And a fun watch.
Now.
80%. I mean, an overall fun watch. It's still pretty low with the audience,
58% with the audience. Yeah.
But by the way, though, that went way up because at one point it was 30. Like 31. Yeah. So that has gone up exponentially. So it's almost gotten into respectability with the audience. But overall, it was very good. I did read something this morning, though. I guess like with Goose, that Goose was actually not the original name. Like that's not the comic book name. Goose was something that they did for the movie as an homage. Yeah. To Goose. Oh, okay. Yeah. As an homage to Goose from Top Gun, which I love. Yeah. I love. Yeah, right. But it was fun. It was a fun movie, and it sets up too. It sets up nicely, and I actually, without giving away any spoilers, I feel like that first end credit scene could possibly be where they lead off with Endgame. Yeah, I would imagine it could pick up right there.
I would imagine so. I mean, it all fits. I mean, it seamlessly goes together. Yes. I just wish there was a little bit more. I do like how the whole thing with the Flirkin and Nick Fury. I'm not going to get into details about what happened.
That was a little unexpected, but
a little bit. But it was. My wife posts Captain Marvel worth the cost of babysitting. That's high praise. That's her grade. That's her grade.
I mean, that's a good grade. That means you're willing to spend money to see it. Yeah. On top of the ticket price, you're willing to spend additional money to see it. So
well, technically, I have the monthly thing, the service with Cinemark. I mean, with Cinemark, so I got both of our tickets for free, and we get 20% off the concessions, which is good too. So it was just really the cost of beer. So that's a good grade. I like that grade. That's a good grade.
Hey, Christine, Shane like Wiggies.
Yeah, I do.
Shane like
17. She was there for it. She saw it. She saw it in all its glory.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
All its glory.
I am very impressed by that. That's good
stuff. I could have gone more, but I didn't want to feel sick.
Fat guy, were you fat guy in a little coat?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I have one lodged right here.
I used to grab bear claws 2 at a time and I'm lodged right here. In this region. I better not. I have what doctors call a little bit of a weight problem. How about some coffee? I'd love some. Oh my God! Don't get me started. I'm gonna start tearing up.
He's great. All right, that's pretty much it for our show. We don't have anything left. We really appreciate everybody who watched, tuned in, who liked, subscribed, to whatever, you just shared it. All that stuff's great. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. But yeah, we're pretty much out. So do you anything else you wanted to leave people with before we sign off?
No. I got something.
Yes, she said Tommy Boy was quoted during that meal. As Tommy Boy is quoted often during most meals when I eat with my wife, because we love Tommy Boy.
Next time we hang out with you guys, I think Christine and I are just going to have a Tommy Boy conversation where all we do is communicate to each other with Tommy Boy lines. Nothing else is said. We're not going to talk about our kids or things we're doing with the house or anything like that. Yeah. It's just going to be one Tommy Boy quote.
Start spraying each other.
Like you want to make, maybe you and I'll take a picture together or something, or like we'll get next to each other and we'll ask your wife, how do we look? And she'll say chubby.
So she said, I told Cam, Mommy want wingy, but he doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it. He will eventually.
Yeah. Now that's going to happen soon. That movie will happen soon. He's watched Ace Ventura 2. Ace Ventura 1 has a little bit of a little risque ending to it. So we didn't have him watch that, but he's actually approaching the age where you can have a discussion with him about it. And so it's not terrible. But so we're getting there. But yeah, I think Tommy Boy's on. It's going to be on the docket soon, and my wife will definitely have to be there for that viewing because it's glorious. I had Cam watch Beverly Hills Ninja. I had him watch that with me.
I love that movie.
That's a great movie too.
It's
I had him
so
watch
bad.
Yeah.
I love it. Though.
Oh, he loved that. He absolutely adored that movie, and as he should because it's great. All right, so if you can, like I said, give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. If you can't, then you can't. But go to
smash that like button,
yes.
as I hear all the time when the kids are watching YouTube.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find us. Just type in Sports and Sorts with the ampersand or whatever you want to do. You can find us on YouTube. You can also go to our website, which is www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And all of our social media stuff's there. You can find us on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. You can find me on Twitter at EinhornIsFinkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And you can find Tim at Cali. So anyway. Oh, by the way, I just did fantasy baseball. Got all my teams done. I got Madison Bumgarner on both of my fantasy baseball teams. And I got him relatively cheap because after the injuries and all that kind of stuff, I'm pretty pumped about it. And the team that I drafted yesterday, got a lot of Yankees.
Just never been into fantasy baseball. It's too much of a time.
I got LeMahieu.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
I got LeMahieu. I got Stanton. I got Tanaka, I got Betances, I got Chapman, I got J.A. Happ. I picked up Dallas Keuchel just in case he becomes a Yankee.
He's going to be somewhere.
But just in case he becomes a Yankee.
Nah, that's not going to happen.
I was going bananas with the Yankees. But it was great. It was fun. I like that. Good times. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys again on Saturday.
You stay classy, Planet Globe.
We'll let you know. Just keep an eye on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman or Twitter at Shane and Bryman. We'll let you know. Make sure that you know when we're going to be going live next. Most likely Saturday?
Well, I think.
Question mark? You think? I don't know. We'll find out. You'll find out.
Damn it! Who put the question mark on that teleprompter? Later.
Bye. It takes so long for this thing to sign off now.